Hey, bonjour. Bonjour, on the go now. Ache. Obsco de gato to go obsk makto to me ge wopski makwendus nakas. With Aki and Donji. I come from Earth. That's where I come from. I'm a resident and a original resident of Earth. And a lot of people say, you're racist if you believe that there's only one race. Well, I read some of the rules of this group, and it says that you need to be respectful in what you say. You need to be kind and courteous. No bullying, no hate speech, no none of that. And I agree with those. And one of the things that it also says is to live and abide by and adhere to what they say 7 grandfather teachings, which is inaccurate. It's a very common misconception that it's called the 7 grandfather teachings. That's that's more of a Eurocentric way of saying what those are. No fault of their own. Because of everything that has happened. We changed our teachings from matriarchal to patriarchal, and it's to no fault of our own because of what was forced upon us. Now, when you go back to teachings and when you go back to our customs and traditions, it wasn't grandfather teachings. It was sacred laws. And our sacred laws was in the Anishinaabe Mom, we used Gakdegego and Maskiki, everything. Everything is a medicine. And how is that? How can some of the things that we've been through be a medicine for us? I'll give you an example. Now, I don't know how many people of you know your language or near to what your language, but I'm pretty sure that in your language and in your dialect, there's something that describes this. Now, for me, there's something called Kapahtam. And Kapahtam is a very very good teaching when it comes to our traditions and our customs and our knowledge that we carry. Kapahtam is very hard to explain in English, but there's this old woman in a small town in northern Ontario. And she had her hands curled up like this. She was pretty much on her deathbed. And they sent people, I'm just going to say people, to go and talk to her. She didn't want Christian prayers, eh? And there's nothing wrong with Christian. There's nothing wrong with Christianity. I don't like it when people are like, oh, like you're native, you're supposed to be tradition. Who are we to say that? That's another part of that adhering to the 7 sacred laws, is that we as a people, we as a nation, before the interruption, before genocide, we didn't tell others how to pray. Even if you were an enemy, we didn't tell you how to pray. That's the only connection between you and Kitsimaritu, between Creator, the Great Spirit, what some people say the Great Mystery, you know, God. So, but anyway, going back to my story, she didn't, she didn't, she didn't want to pray the Christian prayers anymore. She wanted to go back. She wanted to go back to what she was, who she was. So she wanted to hear the old ways, you know, the old songs. Hey, oh. Wanted to hear that. I got a lot to say because even those songs, you know, we didn't used to do that. We didn't used to sing as high pitched and bang the drum as hard as we could. We used to sing. We used to sing. That was it. We didn't we didn't do that for show a lot. And I know I'm gonna offend a lot of people with this post. You know, I know I'm gonna offend a lot of people with this, but you know, you can either listen to me and disagree with me, or you can go find out for yourself, you know. Don't listen to me. Go find out for yourself. But powwows, they weren't even traditional. Powwows weren't even something that we did. That was it was more of a fun thing. And the reason why it started was because of the fact that we used to get paid money to do so. And then it just became something that something that it just kept going. So anyway, back to my story. So she wanted to hear those old songs, those old Atso Kanak songs, the songs of stories, the songs that were prayers, the songs that had spirits in those songs. And and she was still stuck like this, both sides of her hands stuck, and even her legs all crumpled up and her back all crumpled up. She was old. Finally, there's this saying. It's a good teaching too. All it was Ginda Shween. That's it. No big extravagant story and try to make it sound all, you know, stoic and all that. Just a simple, strong, basic teaching. Ginda Shween. What about you? And what happened was she started to talk. And she talked about 11, 12 years old. She was pregnant. And as she was running away from residential school, she got so far out into the bush when she was pregnant that she gave birth to her by herself. This was a baby having a baby. And I just think to myself, I wonder how scared that this little child was, because she was forced to have that baby. She was hurt. And when she gave birth to this baby, what she did was she stuck it into a tree stump, and a tree that was chopped, and there was a hole in there, and she put that little baby in there. And then, even though that what she did was not a good thing, keep in mind that she was forced to have this baby. And the baby itself, she remembers its little hands were on both sides and its little legs were curled up and back was all bunched up. And she went running back to the residential school. As soon as she started to talk about what she did and cried for that little baby, that's when her hands started to unfold and her back starting to straighten up and her legs finally started to extend. And then she was able to pass away peacefully. That's the best way that I can explain what Kabata means. And I know that for every tribe, you guys have your own way and your own version of what Kabata means. It's not karma. It's so much more than that. Anyway, the reason why I'm making this video post, is because of our old ways and our old traditions. And the reason why it's no, like even when I said where it's not grandfather teachings, it's because listen to our language. Listen to how feminine our language is. And if you're from a different tribe and you don't agree, maybe this isn't for you. But at the end of the day, our language is a female language. It's a women language. That's why I say it's matriarchal, not patriarchal. And the Anishinaabe people, a lot of our tribes, we lived in a matriarchal society. And when we start to understand, the history, the true history, and I know a lot of my Cree brothers and sisters really don't like this story, because whenever I share this out in the community, they're like, no, that's bullshit. That's not right. They get really angry with me. Anishinaabe people, Ojibwe people, the Cree descended from us. When you take that word and around from where my area is, all the way up north to where the tundra is, as far down as Pennsylvania, as far east as the middle of Quebec, and as far west as the middle of Saskatchewan, that's all Anishinaabe territory. The farther west that you go, the more it goes from Anishinaabe Moom to Nahiwak. And even when you look at that word, Nahiwak, Nahi, Ni one, 4. Nahiwak, 4 directional people, because a long time ago, we sent our ancestors north, east, south, west. When we sent them north, our Inuit brothers and sisters probably took some in, and probably, and all that. That's probably why there's a lot of Oji Cree dialect changing as it goes more north. The more east that you go, there's a lot of people who speak Anishinaabe Moom and also French and other dialects that even I don't understand sometimes. The more south that you go, Ojibwe starts turning into Chippewa and starts mixing with the Oneida people and the Mohawk. But then when you start heading west, a lot of the words are very similar. The base of it is very similar, but a lot of the words is kind of starts having S's, you know. It goes from Makwa to Maskwa. It goes from Ikwe to Iskwel. It goes, all these different things, right? And I have a theory. A theory is a long, long time ago, one of those Ojibwe people, when they started to slowly become Cree, one of the leaders had a lisp, eh? I'm just kidding. I just wanted to share this with you guys because there's a post that I saw. There was this post that I saw that had to do with a Spanish woman. And you could tell she's Spanish even though she's light-skinned because her last name is Rodriguez. And I saw just so much, you could see from her spirit and intent, her spirit and intention, you could see that she's sharing her picture because she's truly proud to be Indigenous. She had dreadlocks, she had colored feathers, and it was a very nice picture. And somebody from this group, Julius Dinter, from what I saw, he's from Regina, shared it. And I saw a lot of backlash. Oh, this is cultural appropriation. Oh, this is this is very disrespectful. Oh, all of her posts are so demeaning and just all this different stuff. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, how I didn't get offended. I got hurt. I was hurt because there's men and women that are Indigenous that are so, and I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to use that truth because you guys need to hear the truth. I was hurt. I was hurting because of the fact that my people are so assimilated to what we used to be. That kind of assimilation, that kind of generational and intergenerational trauma where we're starting to be the ones to act like that towards other Indigenous populations. I was just shaking my head in disgust reading some of these comments. I was almost like feeling sorry for a lot of the people that were, and it looked like, as the comments started to go down, it looked more like a mob mentality, where there was more, like, the more and more hateful that the comments started to get. And I was just like, how is this Indigenous teachings? How is this our customs? How is what being said? How is this Ansnape Kikenmokewan? How is this Nehiwak Kikenmokewan? How is this Mohawk understandings? How is this Oneida, Blackfoot, Stony, Lakota, Lakota, Dene, Inuit? I've traveled all across Canada. I've traveled and I've sat in ceremony with probably almost every tribe. I've been invited to a lot of communities. And it's everywhere I go. Everywhere I go is that there's a lot of assimilated people who don't know what they're talking about, that say some of the things that some of you people were saying in the comments about me, about your own elders, about your own healers, about your, and all that. But still, at the end of the day, with some of those knowledge keepers and elders and healers and, people that I meet, it's still the same foundation of that matriarchal society, of that matriarch that's there. So I don't understand how we can be so angry to a woman that is proud of who she is and dresses like the way that she does, and call her a white woman just because she's light-skinned. I have white nation brothers and sisters that I've adopted because they're allies. I have Black nation brothers and sisters that I've adopted because they're allies. Asian brothers and sisters that I've adopted because they're allies. And the reason why I get emotional over this is because of the fact that that's not who we are. We're not. We aren't the same as those people that have forced us to learn the language that I'm speaking right now. We're not the same people that gave us these kinds of scars. We're not those people. And with humility, I say that we are better. Not better people like Creator loves us more. No, I'm talking about we are better because we know what it's like to be treated that way. We know what it's like to be given that shame by being who we are. One more final thought that I have. I know this is a very long video. One final thought is, when we look at that word culture, I've shared a lot of stories with you. But when we look at that word culture, we can understand that we have a culture as a nation. So that's where the powwow comes in. All of us, we identify that. Some of us don't know the history, but it doesn't matter because it's still a part of our culture. And then there's family culture, where it's like in my family, let's say somebody passes away, we keep their stuff for a year and then we gift it out after 1 full year. That's family culture. And then there's your individual culture. A lot of people tell me, they say, hey, like, why do you cut your hair? Again, going back to that, you're not supposed to cut your hair. As an indigenous person, especially a ceremonial keeper, you should know you're not supposed to cut your hair. Why do you have tattoos? As an Anishinaabe person, you're not supposed to desecrate your body. Why this, why that? Because even though that I'm an indigenous person, I'm still Danyan Sagachagabo. I'm still a friend and a bro to a lot of people. I'm an uncle to a lot of people. I'm a dad, you know. I'm a friend. I'm a family member. But I'm also an individual. I'm a person. I'm a person who likes to honor my dead relatives. I'm a person who likes to honor some of the things that I've learned in life, some of the things that I've been through. I'm a person who likes to be me while I'm here. So when it comes down to culture, I believe if a Spanish woman wants to wear feathers, she could wear feathers. If she wants to wear dreadlocks, she could wear dreadlocks, you know. And it's really cool because she knows her language. Um, and for a lot of those people that were showing a lot of anger, have you ever heard of that saying, when you have one finger pointed out, there's three more pointed back at you? I'm wondering if a lot of you that were hating on this picture, um, a lot of that anger is basically towards yourself because you don't know your language, or you don't know your customs, or you don't know um, where you fit in all of that, you know. And if you do, you obviously have forgotten. I'm not going to say you don't know because that's not for me to judge, but I'm going to say maybe you forgot about those customs and traditions that we have. And it's my job as a polar bear clan member, as a lodge keeper, it's my job for me to remind you of those things in a good way. So I hope you receive this message with love and kindness, because I'm trying to be gentle, and I want you guys to think about what I'm saying, and to think about Kapatam and about everything that I said in this video. Now, it's me, Gwitch, the Guapman. Saki and Gakna, whoever wants to watch this, say, Miigwech.